Happy 4th of July, everyone. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me how I make some of my pins, and so I thought today I have a custom order to do. I would actually walk you guys through the process. So today I'm going to be showing you how I made this gorgeous, stunning pink and white pearl music themed pin. So this is a custom order. And a little bit about the pen. This is actually incredibly awesome. The pen itself has a bunch of different musical themed things. So the center band is a piano. So if you look there, you can see all the keys on it. The clip is a guitar. So it's got the head, it's got the knobs, and then it actually has the fretboard. And then the top, the cap is a snare drum. So it's actually got a little snare in there. And then the tip has a staff that has some notes and some things on it. It's kind of hard to see that. I'll get some pictures of it later. And it's just very simple. It's a Parker refill, so it's twist to open, but absolutely stunning. I have a video that I'm going to speed up and voice over, so you guys aren't going to hear the nasty like of the lathe, and you're not going to have to hear all the chips flying. But I will walk you through this because so many of you guys have asked, so please enjoy as together we make this amazing pen. Alright, so what we're going to do here is just start to get the lathe cleaned up and prepped. I had to get my tools ready, I had to change out my cutter, that I'd be able to turn better. What I'm going to show you here right now, these blanks start out square. I drill a hole through them, and I really apologize for the sunlight being right there. But these blanks start out square, and once they're turned down, you'll see later that they end up being round. But I'm just going to keep loading my lathe up so that we're ready to go. Get her fired up. I'm going to wax up my tool rest there so the tool slides a little bit better. But we are about to get turning. Alright, so here we go. I love this part, just being able to watch the chips fly. The key to doing acrylic pins is to go slow and steady, so I started out a little bit at regular speed just so you could see. I did speed it up. I so apologize that my head is in the way. I moved the camera here so you could see a little bit better as I did this. But this is sped up 20 times the speed that I'm actually turning. So what you see, this is not actually going that fast. This is a very slow and tedious process. You use very light cuts and take off tenths of a millimeter, hundredths of a millimeter at a time. So as we keep going, you can see that what used to be square now starts to turn round, and we just keep going until those metal bushings come into contact with the outer diameter of the pen. And so these bushings are there in order to help me get the correct size of the barrel. So every single point where the blank contacts and part of the hardware is a different size. So those bushings really help make sure that it's a smooth transition. So continue watching. I'm getting really close to the diameter of the bushings right here. So I'm going to slow down and take even lighter cuts just to be able to really butt that barrel up to the bushings so that I know that it's going to be a smooth transition. Right about here, I am satisfied with where the barrel is at in relation to the bushing. So I'm just doing a final check, really just feeling over there, making sure there's no lip, making sure that, there's no overhang, so that it's going to be a perfectly smooth transition when I assemble the pin. So I believe I am 100% satisfied. It's going to even be a little bit closer once I start sanding, but now it's time to clean up the lathe. I'm not sure if you just saw, but I showed off my coffee there. That's what keeps me going. So I am just going to vacuum all of the chips and all of the ribbons off, and that way I've got a clean working space. I'm going to actually take the pen off of the mandrel, and I want to show you for just a second. So again, when I started, the blank was square, and now it's perfectly round and is capable of being put on the pen. I'm just going to replace those metal bushings with plastic ones, and that way as I'm sanding I'm not going to be eating into the middle. So I start out with 320 grit sandpaper, and I pause for just a second because I want to explain something As I'm sanding, the lathe is on right now, so the lathe is doing the work, and so what that means is there are going to be radial sanding lines, so around the blank they're going to be like little circles that go straight around. What I want is to instead take that sandpaper and sand along the length of the pin that are going to make linear sanding marks in order to get rid of the circular ones. So I sand with the lathe on first, and then I go back and sand back and forth, and I'm going to repeat this. So I started with 320 grit, I'm now at 400, and I'm going to move to 600 grit. Here we go, right there. And once I'm done sanding, I need to buff. So I have what's called Zona paper. These are buffing sheets that really help create a shine on the pin. So they start out by being pretty abrasive, but towards the end, when I get down to the last sheets, they end up being about 1 micron, which is an incredibly tight piece of paper that really gives it a shine. So I need to clean off my blank and actually take it off of this lathe, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera over and I'm going to buff this. But before I do that, let me show you. This is what it looks like. It's pretty shiny. You can see a little bit of shine on there, but we're going to make it even more brilliant. So I'm going to take this over to my other lathe, which has some buffing wheels on it. And I actually use a jeweler's compound. It's a blue rouge, and I'm going to use this in order to really buff up and shine this pin. So I start by buffing it with the blue rouge, and that really brings the shine into it, but then I'm going to take it to the cotton wheel, which is going to clean off any of the blue powder that might still be on the pin. And once that's done, this thing just sparkles in the sunlight. It lets all light be so reflective. It's just absolutely amazing. And this is the procedure that I do for all of my acrylic pens. So I sand, and then I use the buffing paper, and then I come over here to the buffing wheel and actually use the jeweler's compound. But you can just look at this and see, man, I wish it was a better quality video, but you can see the light reflecting off of the blank, and that is just so amazing. That is what I shoot for every single time I make a pin. So now we're going to come over here to the assembly process. I have everything I need. I have the tip, the barrel, the front barrel. I have my insert with the spring, the center band, the twist mechanism. I have the outer barrel, and then over here I have all my cap components. So I'm going to start by checking the instructions one more time just to make sure that I put this together the right way. But we're going to assemble in that order. So I'm going to start with the cap. I'm going to start with the tip, and I'm going to begin by inserting that into the front barrel, just like I show you right there. So I'm going to speed this process up. But I have what's called a pin press, so that really lets me make sure the components stay together. And so I start by using the tip. I'm going to insert the center band, which then I can put the insert in, and the twist mechanism. You can see right there that it works just fine. So now I'm going to assemble the cap. I start with this coupler, and then I'm able to put the cap through the clip and then screw that on tight, press really hard, push the whole thing together, and now I have a functional pin. You see here in these pictures, it is just absolutely stunning. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I really think that the recipient of this gift is really going to like it. Again, happy 4th of July. I have my traditional cat shirt on. This is an annual tradition for my family. So I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing 4th. Have fun, be safe, and we'll see you next time.